What's up, guys? Coach Vassar, thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, appreciate you tuning in. Listen to me talk about these workouts. If you find value in them, information is in the description to support me. And as always, any feedback, please let me know. Today, we're going to break down Saturday, July 5th. You're going to see Blaze over here in the corner. And then this will repeat Sunday, July 20th. We're going to see endurance on the treads, power on the rowers, strength on the weight floor. As always, we'll talk about the 2G, talk about the 3G, and then get you on out of here. So for the treads, we're gonna see 2 endurance style blocks, short pushes in block 1, shorter time in base in block 2. On the rower, we'll have 2 blocks with 200-meter rows. First 100 at base, last 100 all out. It's a build. Feel the difference and watch your numbers change. And then on the floor, you have 2 blocks as well. Start with upper body and then hit lower body. We're gonna have the incline bench set at position 3 for the benches. And of course, you'll need dumbbells out today. So looking at the treadmills, 2 blocks, 11.5 minutes in block 1, 90-second recovery between the 2 blocks, and then block 2 is 10 minutes. So we're gonna see a total of 3 push to base combos into a push all out in block 1. And then in block 2, we're gonna see 4 rounds of push base combos that will have a bonus all out at the very end. All right, so in block 1, the goal is to increase the push intensity, decrease base as needed to trend towards the green zone. So this is a goal that we've seen quite frequently recently, where the idea is maybe start with a conservative push and then recognize base will be fluid throughout the day and throughout the block. So what they do at the beginning may look different, but hopefully it feels the same. So really key into that. Also, all about coaching to the OTB. So we're gonna start with a 3-minute push followed by a 90-second base. Every push will decrease by 1 minute. So 3, 2, 1, with a 90 base after each one. Now after the 3rd round though, that's where it changes. You have a bonus interval of a 30 push into a 30 all out. Now with the goal of increasing that push intensity and allowing members to adjust their base, also recognizing that comparatively speaking, there is quite a bit of time in base in this block. People could start more in that mid-range, lower aggressive push effort. They recommend power walkers 4% or greater. Joggers and runners, I'd have them about 1, maybe 1.5 over their base. But then every round, could they add, 0.2 to 0.3 or so, rather than just 0.1? Let's make some bigger jumps on these because we could pull back on that base. So one way to approach it is like, hey, if you add 0.2 to your push, maybe take away 0.1 from your base, or the same amount. So widen the gap between the 2 efforts. For the bikes and striders, I would have them start at about 2 to 3 gears over their base for that 3-minute push. Every round, add a gear. And then for power walkers, of course, can they increase their incline and or increase their walk speed? And then on the recovery, will they adjust their base incline or adjust their power walk speed? Once they finish that 30-second all out, they'll get that 1:30 to recover, get back to base when they're ready. And then we're gonna maintain in block 2. So we're gonna see a 75 push, 90 base. The base will decrease by 15 seconds. Knowing that there's gonna be less recovery in this block because it's a new block, the push could be different from before, but we want to use something that we feel confident in, that even though it's uncomfortable, we could sustain it as we chip away at recovery. So after that 75 push, 90 base, the next base will be 75 as well. Then we'll see a minute and then a 45-second base. So I would try to have them probably use that 2-minute push from block 1, or on the more aggressive side, maybe their 1-minute push, or something in between those 2 for this block, okay? They recommend power walkers 6% or greater. And then of course, bikes and striders, I would probably keep them about 4 gears or so over their base, because once again, the goal is to establish or reestablish and then maintain for the remainder of the block. After that last 45-second base, they have a 30-second all out, and then they're done. Now, on the weight floor, 11.5 minutes for block 1, timed up with the treads, and then 10 minutes in block 2. Both of these are really nice because there's gonna be a lot of back and forth between the weight floor and the rower. So in block 1, we're gonna see the incline alternating chest press, followed by the regular chest press. So for this setup, it's gonna be a total of 12 reps, but really it is 9 essentially, because you're gonna start with both arms up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 3 per side, and then 6 regular reps. So I would skew more towards like a moderate to slash heavy weight choice for these 2 exercises. They should definitely need to rest afterwards. And then we're gonna go into a single arm deadlift for 6 reps. Key thing with that single arm deadlift is making sure the hips and the shoulders are equal and they minimize rotation. So a cue I like to use for this is imagine like you have a dumbbell in the other arm and deadlift as if you are holding 2 weights still. That way they work on keeping everything together as they do that hinge. Now, if someone maybe is not comfortable doing a deadlift, you could do a single arm good morning. So go really light, like when we do 2 dumbbells, just do 1 and then hinge over and back. That way they're still getting like that posture work from the upper body, but they could also feel that stretch in the hamstrings and glutes. You could also take them down to the floor and do a glute bridge. In that case, I would have them do a single leg glute bridge as an alternative and go body weight. And that way they could really prioritize keeping those hips stable as they lift up and then back down. Once they finish that sequence, then they go to the row and they have that 200-meter build. On the screen, it will, I guarantee you, it will say 100-meter base, 100-meter all out, and that's what the members are gonna see. So they're gonna do a 100-meter stored program. Try to emphasize using the 200-meter stored program so that way there is no downtime between the 2 efforts. From 200 down to 100, base row, it'll probably take people 15 to 20 seconds, but then 100 down to 0, crank it out, all out effort. A way to kind of set this up in terms of stroke rate is use the warm up, that 18 to 24 stroke rate for that first 100, and then the back 100, let's crank it up, 28, maybe up to 32 strokes per minute. So as a coach, when you're watching your members, you should be able to tell Sally's doing a base row, John's at the all out now, because of the change in their tempo, right? And that's something to call out to those members, especially during those 2 minutes and 90-second efforts on the treadmills. Plenty of opportunity to give not only the personal touches but also off mic corrections and accountabilities for those rowers. After that, because they finish with that all out row, they'll probably sit there, catch their breath for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then they're back to the weight floor, back to the chest press. All right, now block 2, very similar idea, except for now the dumbbell exercises are going to be upper body pull followed by a single arm squat. So we're going to see alternating low rows. This is going to be from a hinged position. Both arms are straight, pull up 1, up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they're going to do a seated position low row for 6 more reps. So same idea. Total count is 12, but really 9 reps because you have 3 per arm to begin with, and then 6 more with both arms. Key thing here is that seated low row position for some members definitely is a struggle because of maybe how tall they are, how long their limbs are. My thing that I like to do is try to have people, encourage people to get their feet out away from them, so that way their knees are not so high up. It allows the thighs to come lower. It also gives them more space to be able to hinge over successfully. And the other thing is allow the arms to kind of travel forward slightly, and they emphasize pinching back and pulling the elbows back rather than pulling the elbows up and then shrugging up the traps, okay? And then they're gonna have a front-loaded single arm squat. So 1 dumbbell here, core brace as they lower down and back up. Same idea, minimize that rotation as they do that. You could do a single arm squat weight off to the side if maybe they have like an elbow issue or they're not comfortable putting the weight on the shoulder. With the weight on the side, just be mindful that they're not letting the knees cave in to compensate for that weight there, or that they're shifting over as they lower down. Excuse me. And then they'll go back to the rower, hit that 200-meter build again. So same exact thing, a lot of repetition here, which is great. We should see, probably about 2 to 3 rounds of this entire sequence in both blocks. And then they actually finish with a 30-second all-out row when the treads hit that all out. So probably when you have the treads go to that 45-second base, that's your heads up for the weight floor. Hey, weight floor, stop what you're doing. Head to your rowers, we'll clean up later, get strapped in and get ready for a 30-second all-out row. After that row, we'll head back, wipe everything down, and then go up to the treads. boom, 2G. All right, 3G. 2 blocks on the treads, 2 blocks on the rower, 1 long block on the weight floor. So for the treadmills, we're gonna see 6.5 minutes for your 2 blocks, 90-second recovery in between. In block 1, we're gonna see 2 rounds of a push-base combo, and then that push all-out sequence. And then in block 2, we're gonna have 3 rounds of a push-base combo with a bonus all-out by itself. Now, a little bit different here in the 3G. For block 1, we're gonna see a 2-minute push, 1-minute base, 1-minute push, 1-minute base, 30 push, and then a spicy 1-minute all out. So same idea, increase push intensity every round, decrease base as needed. And then for all out, effort over intensity, does it feel very uncomfortable for those 60 seconds? Block 2 is very similar to the 2Gs, where it's gonna have base chipping away. The push is 1 minute as opposed to 75. The base starts at 75 and then still decreases by 15. So 1-minute push, 75, 1-minute push, 1-minute base, 1-minute push, 45 base, 30-second all out, okay? Now for the rower, we're gonna see the same style of a build, but it's a longer distance, 300 meters, first half is base, back half is all out, so 150 mark is when they change up the intensity. And then in block 1, they're gonna have forward-backward hops as their recovery. After they've rested, they'll do that and then get back on the rower. And they're gonna repeat that for 6.5 minutes. That 300-meter build for most people will probably take around a minute. They get up, do the movement, get back on. So we'll see probably 3 attempts of that 300-meter row. Block 2 is the exact same thing, except for now they're gonna hop sideways for the lateral hop instead of front to back. And then same thing, when you send the treads to that 45 base, that's when the rowers need to get ready for their all out, and same with the weight floor. Now for the weight floor, it is actually the 2G weight floor movements. They're gonna do the block 1 movements for 3 rounds. So the alternating chest press, rest, deadlift, 3 rounds. Then they'll do this superset for the lower body, or the pull and the lower body. So low row, seated low row, squat for 3 rounds. If they finish all that, then they'll do all 6 movements as one big block. And then the finisher is a different exercise, so definitely acknowledge it, the bicycle crunch. In terms of time though, one way to kind of keep people like on track for 3 rounds here, ideally each round's gonna take about 2 minutes. So we should try to get through the first 3 rounds around the same time it takes the treads and rowers to get through their first block, right? So if they're finishing up super quick and they're still only and you're only 3 minutes into the tread block, they're probably not resting enough, they're probably not lifting heavy enough, so that might be a conversation to have with them on at least the second part. Really emphasize going heavy, take their time, rest, and then really focus on mechanics. That's all I really have to say about the 3G for this one, and the 2G, once again, Saturday, July 5th, Sunday, July 20th. Coach it down.